please move closer to the stage to enjoy the show.
Okay. No, there's an event set up. Okay, I think it's streaming. Okay, well they said they were waiting to start for me to do this. Okay. So I'm doing this. Okay. So it looks okay. I have the video set up, but it's really small for some reason. I have the video set up, but it's really tiny for some reason. That's the one issue. And I don't know about audio. Could someone actually hop on the stream and tell me if there's any audio?
I wonder if it's actually tiny.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, Christmas Tree Project. Okay. Yeah, it is tiny? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sorry, what? Here, okay, sorry. Here, do you want to mess around, try to get the,
how are you sending it?
There, oh my god, what is going on? Okay, here we go. This is how it's set up right now. I tried fitting it to screen. What if I try to make it bigger? Is that going to make a difference?
I think our backup plan should just be to use a phone.
Yeah. I don't know. Why is this so tiny? Why just make it 100%? Flat?
How's that? Can you go back on the stream?
And is there any audio? That's the next question.
There's audio.
Oh, there's audio. Okay,
but
great.
It's still small.
It's still small.
I feel like it's just like an OBS thing, like this.
It's definitely.
You want to call Ken?
I'm on the phone with Ken. I tried doing that and it did not really seem to work. But
here we go.
It's like that the edges of the screen window are for some reason not the edges of the video. That's the weird part, and I don't know why that is.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Okay, so.
How's it going? Okay.
Yeah, but
There is audio.
it's. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, but it's like on. Like if I click it, oh, that is really small.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're struggling with fix this, unfortunately. Sorry, okay, Ken, what were you trying to say? I'm sorry, I don't care. Matt, if you want to mess with it.
Is it, Ron, does it have something to do with this?
Almost.
It's
Streaming. It's just tiny.
Right. But I mean, is there
We're
like
trying to make
something
it bigger.
like zooming in on this matter? Or it's
I
definitely
don't think so. I think it's an OBS thing. Whatever's happening, for some reason the source is just not aligned with the actual size of the camera.
Here, is there a way to...
Maybe try editing the source.
No, but I have a DJI, so I was wondering.
Yeah, where's the source? How do I go to the source?
Um,
How do I go to the properties?
Those seem to be the only options.
Yeah. There should be a.
I don't understand why this is. Yeah, I guess trying to make it bigger. I guess here's my suggestion. I think I have an idea.
No, there's like here scale filtering.
Yeah, that's what I did. I did transform. It's under transform and then fit to screen. And that's what I did, and that got the tiny thing. But I think what we need to do is drag it bigger, like drag it over the.
Oops.
Okay, now what did that do? Well, hold on, leave that. Let's see what it did. Because that might actually have worked.
It's stretched now. Okay. Is there a way to
just try pulling it up?
Please welcome founder and executive director of the Christopher Street Project, Tyler Hatt.
Try on a Safari just to see what the stream looks like.
It's not.
Oh, it's not changing it. That's weird. Oh no, hit live. Okay, yep. Well, that's better. That is
Hello?
better.
Okay, hi! Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Good morning. My name's Tyler Hack. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm the executive director of the Christopher Street Project. Quick logistics before I jump in. There's a bathroom to my right, or to the left if you're facing the Capitol, and an ADA section right in front of the stage. We also have a first aid stand on the other side, and a merch stand right over there. I also invite you to come in closer in front of the riser. There's lots of room right up in front. I know the grass is lovely, but if you're able to come, it's going to be great. This is the second Trans Day of Visibility we're celebrating as an organization since we launched last year, exactly 1 week before Trump was inaugurated. We've been fighting in the halls of power over the last year, and I'm so proud of how far we've come. This rally comes after the last 2 days of learning from each other, telling our stories on Capitol Hill, and gathering together as a community to confront the state of our rights in this country. We know that there isn't one strategy that will take back our country. We need to educate, we need to advocate, and we need to rally. That's what this week has been about for the Christopher Street Project, and I think what it should be about for all of us in this movement going forward. There's an agenda that some people have for this country, an agenda to control what people can read, to control what doctors can do, to control what families can decide, and control who belongs in public life. This is not just about trans people. This is about whether we live in a country where the government gets to decide who is acceptable and who is not. And history is very clear about this. When one group is targeted, it never stops there. Yes. We're facing bans on our bodies. We're facing a devastating loss of health care, especially gender-affirming, life-saving care. We're being dismissed and silenced. Our freedom of speech is being curtailed. We're being scapegoated and forced out of public life, especially as our trans immigrant siblings face disgusting and misgendered detention conditions with no access to care, as trans service members who put their lives on the line are being dishonored and dismissed with their benefits stripped, and as all of us face threats to legislate us out of existence. We know that our freedoms are intertwined. We can't leave anyone out of the conversation. They're doing this because they think we're isolated, they think we're small, they think we're easy to pick off. They think we'll just roll over and let them take our rights away. But they're wrong. Nobody, and certainly not these leaders, will trample on our rights without a fight. This week and this past year, we've been mobilizing, putting in the work to create a world where trans people from all walks of life are able to live free, full, authentic lives in this country. This fight is a tough one. I am the first to admit that sometimes it can be demoralizing and exhausting, but I'm inspired by all of you. I am inspired by your courage and your strength and your fierceness and your advocacy. I draw strength from your courage, and I stand on the shoulders of giants, our ancestors at Stonewall, who stood up and fought for all of us. They didn't fight so that we could live in fear. They fought so that we could live in the light. And I'm honored to help keep this fight alive. The days of respectability politics and hoping for the best are over. We're demanding that our leaders do better. We're showing up for trans kids, for our immigrant siblings, service members and veterans, doctors, parents, and everyone who wants and deserves a good life. We're refusing to leave anyone behind. Our movement has never needed permission to exist, and we're certainly not asking for it now. Our futures are bound together across identities, across generations, across every line they try to draw between us. This is what solidarity looks like. This is what love looks like when it refuses to be pushed aside. There is something inevitable about a people who refuse to disappear. It is inevitable that we win. Thank you for being here and just believing in this scrappy project. We have an amazing program for you today, and now I'm so excited to welcome an extraordinary group of faith leaders, authors, and advocates whose work is transforming communities and inspiring change. Rabbi Abby Stein is an award-winning author, speaker, and activist whose incredibly powerful journey from Hasidic rabbinic life to living authentically as a trans woman has made her a leading voice for trans rights in those leaving ultra-Orthodox communities. The Reverend Dr. Megan Rohr is a globally recognized advocate for queer communities and people experiencing homelessness, an accomplished author, and a Lambda Literary Award finalist whose work brings history, compassion, and visibility to the forefront. And Reverend Elder Carmarian D. Anderson is an ordained minister and a trailblazing leader, advancing justice and inclusion nationwide through her work with the United Church of Christ and her historic advocacy at the Human Rights Campaign. Thank you so much for being here, and please welcome Rabbi Stein, Reverend Dr. Rohr, and Reverend Elder Anderson to the stage.
Before I say anything, thank you, Tyler. Where did Tyler go? I want all of you to understand what it means when one of us decides to show up. This is what happens. What happened yesterday when so many of us were on the Hill, the day before, the year before. So much of the beautiful work that Christopher Street Project has done is thanks to Tyler. Shabbat Shalom. Last year we stood here, or somewhere on this mall, and I asked all of you to make noise because I said we need to be visible. And there are people in that building behind us, in a building not far from here, who are trying to erase us. What I'm realizing this year is that they have moved way past erasing us. They don't want people to forget about us. They want to use us to discriminate against trans people, but also against immigrants, against people of color. We have become the rod that they're using to hit the people they want to oppress. We are visible, but we have been cornered into a narrow place. In 4 nights, millions of Jews around the world will gather around the Passover tables to tell a story. A story we're told happened 3,000 years ago of leaving Egypt. But one of the things that we recite on that night is that in every generation we have an obligation to see ourselves as though we are leaving that place. One of the literal meanings of the name used in Hebrew and in Arabic for Mitzrayim, for Egypt, means a narrow place. What we have done for 3,000 years is celebrate our ability to come out of a narrow place. If you don't know what I'm talking about a closet. I'm talking about every narrow place that people try to restrict us in. We have spent thousands of years celebrating our ability, the courage, the beauty, and the power to come out of there. And the people who try to oppress us and to keep us in there, to this day we eat amazing food and we have joyous holidays to celebrate your defeat. My tradition teaches me that coming out and being public with who you are, being proud with who you are, isn't just okay. It is a spiritual and a religious obligation, one that is beautiful, one that is powerful. If you try to take away our visibility, our rights, our power, our joy, our beauty, you are not just morally wrong, you are gonna fail. We are gonna win this. because we're gonna keep fighting together. Thank you all for being here.
I don't know about how many of you are like me, but for 26 years I've had a whistle on my keychain to try to sound the alert. Because even though I'm a person of faith, when it comes to my safety, I need a whistle. Because for decades, when trans people were harmed or hurt or murdered, we only could call for each other, right? I became the very first transgender person elected a bishop. And proudly was willing to throw off my fabulous embroidery to stand with Latina women when they came forward to report misconduct, and proudly would rather not be a bishop than just move someone along and look the other way and pretend that misconduct doesn't happen. So I blew a different kind of whistle. I sued a very progressive church for trans discrimination. Because no matter what kind of building it is, whether it's a space that declares itself to be sacred or it's a Walgreens, if you are going to discriminate against the trans community, even if policies can be rolled back to say it's okay, it should be as expensive as possible. So I want to lift up and bless and give thanks to anyone who has used lawsuits for liberation. Even in the midst of the unknowing of what courts will do, it is an act of faith to continually put yourself out there, especially in a world full of very loud, screaming, lying liars. I hope you will be a part of this whirling wind that I see as a divine mystery, blowing sacredness in places that can't be contained by angry folk who say they can put faith in a box. And I hope you will blow the whistle when people try to take away health care from our youth, from our adults, and from everyone who needs them. I hope you'll blow the whistle when people in the highest offices try to claim that our being our full fabulous somehow takes away the rights of others. I hope you will blow the whistle when they try to lie and say that immigration and black and brown bodies having rights will somehow dehumanize anyone else, and that it's not the same BS we've seen from the beginning of time. Cleve Jones came here back in the 90s to lay out all of the AIDS quilts. And so we stand here remembering the epidemic that still doesn't have a full cure. We stand here willing to blow the whistle of freedom and to blow the whistle that will also liberate and shine a light on our health. Not just in the terrible moments, but in the moments where we need each other to save our trans kids around us. So blow a whistle when you feel so alone you're not sure if you should stay alive tomorrow. Blow a whistle or a DM or a reach out. You can contact me or any of the people around you. Staying alive is victory, right? I'm gonna blow a whistle to celebrate you anytime you use that real name that you like, even if it's just in the bedroom. Even if it's the one your grandma doesn't know how to use yet. Even if it's the one you're not sure you want to say out loud. I'm going to blow a whistle to celebrate when you're able to lop off the flaps and the folds that don't define you, or to reshape your identity or your employment options. I'm going to blow a whistle every time you love boldly and you dance to thumpa-thumpa music, every time you have a sacred orgasm that is not shameful, every time you seek consent, and every time you live as safe as possible. Blow the whistle for those you love, and faith is bigger than fear. Woo!
If I speak in tongues, just go like this. Okay. Happy Trans Day of Visibility, family. You look beautiful! My job is to offer the invocational prayer If you do not know me, I am a Black Pentecostal preacher who serves with the United Church of Christ, where there is a home for each of you with our denomination, because we know that God is still speaking. You're part of the beloved community, and you are a divine person here in the earth. This prayer is going to be written in the interfaith. I don't presume that everybody practiced faith, but for this particular occasion, if you will indulge me, because I do believe in the power of prayer. Hear these words. Loving and liberating Spirit, we gather in this sacred moment on this ground that we have deputized and anoint as holy. In this time full of boisterous and courageous and authentic humans that have come together not only with their visibility but the power of their voice. We come from many faiths, many paths, and many stories, yet we are united in one truth, that every person here is worthy, every person is beloved, and every person deserves of dignity. We do give you thanks, O universe, for this gift of visibility, for every trans-identified and non-binary person, to every ally, to every co-conspirator, and for those that are questioning what place they should be in support, who has dared to live openly and courageously. We honor all of your identities and your humanity. For the elders who paved the way, for the young people rising in truth, and for those whose names we carry in our hearts, we remember and uplift them now. So, Spirit of Justice, we are honest in this very moment today, because we're living in a time where some in leadership have chosen fear over truth, exclusion over belonging, and power over people. We name it not to divide, but because truth still matters. Because here's the truth, you cannot erase what the divine has already affirmed. You cannot legislate away our humanity. Listen here, White House. You cannot silence a people whose very existence is a testimony. And at the same time, I want to pause, oh great I am, to give thanks for the leaders and those advocates and those elected officials who do see us, who stands with us, who fight with us, who chosen courage over convenience. We honor them. So strengthen their voice, sustain their commitment, and remind them that justice is not just a moment, but it is a radical movement. So, Holy Spirit, we call forth something higher. Soften hearts where there are hardened. Open minds where there is fear. And move those in power to lead with compassion, equity, and integrity. And for us gathered here, remind all of us who we are. We are not a problem to be solved. We are people to be celebrated. Our lives are not up for debate. Because when you created us, there was no debate.
There's a way to connect.
They were sacred and worthy.
An iPhone
and if
to
anybody
this
needs a reminder, oh
here,
great Jehovah,
here.
We are still here.
I just need.
We're still standing, and
Does
we
it
are
need to be
not
mine?
going anywhere.
It could be anyone's.
So give us
I
courage
do.
to keep showing up.
I do need
give
a
us
second
the strength
tripod
to keep speaking
then.
out.
I
Give
have
us
that one,
community
but
so that no one has to
we've
walk
lost
alone.
the
And let this
grabber
gathering be
for
more
it.
than just a protest,
What
a
happens when you
rally.
click this?
It connects to
But let
the
it be a
person who
witness.
owns this,
A
their
public
iPhone.
witness of love that makes room. A public witness of justice that restores. A witness of
Okay,
hope
here, let me take
that
out my
refuses
camera,
to
put it
give
here
up.
for now, and I'll figure this out.
And as we begin this rally, ground us in purpose, connect us in solidarity, and move forward with clarity and power, so that our presence here today becomes part of the change we demand in this
It looks
world.
great.
And it is so, Ashe, amen.
It looks okay. I think it's this.
Yeah, do that now. Now that we're on iPhone, and then I'll zoom it in. orientation's weird, but the quality is way better. Instead of scale to window, switch this to canvas. It takes a couple. Thank you so much. You look beautiful. Hi. Hold on, let me refresh this. Open it again, see what that looks like. Might not have updated yet. There's a lag when you do things.
Please welcome a performer, singer, and television actor who made Broadway history as the first trans woman to originate a principal role in Head Over Heels, Miss Peppermint.
I'm gonna record this.
Hello, DC!
Hello.
Oh, bless y'all. It is cold. Well, for Trans Day of Visibility, I really wanted to send a strong message to the trans and non-binary community to tell you how strong you are and talk about how much I love being trans. I think about what it means to be visible and how inspiring it is to know that more people feel comfortable expressing who they are, which is fantastic. Now, all of that is true, but then I think about what is happening all over this country today. People are marching together for No Kings, and while I'm so grateful and very happy to march alongside them, I'm disappointed that so many of the people attending those rallies today are unaware that we are here. They are unaware that it is Trans Awareness Week. So, hello, thank you. So today I'm going to talk directly to all of the people who are not trans, if that is okay with you. To let them know that while I am happy to be here, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that we have to spend time marching for our rights. I'm disappointed that we have to convince other people who are also fighting for their rights, that we have been here supporting them all along. I'm disappointed that seemingly not enough LGBT people show up when this end of the community is being attacked. I'm disappointed that the people who target the trans community have succeeded in making us a target for very real anger and dissatisfaction people feel towards their government for failing to provide and protect basic needs. I'm disappointed that people who seem to be distracted while piece after piece of anti-trans legislation passes state by state, as if they would rather be on their phones or watching a dancing robot or funny cat videos. I'm disappointed that people in this country are being asked to make an agreement to throw us under the bus, to dangle us in front of the rest of the country like we are some sort of distraction or diversion, as if this is just entertainment. But I'm not entertained. I'm disappointed and afraid that the American people might actually make that agreement in exchange for affordability, jobs, housing, or healthcare. Well, to those people, congratulations. Instead of the ability to buy a house or fix the tooth that's fallen out of your head, now, or even have affordable childcare, instead of that, what you get is trans people being kicked out of bathrooms. You get headlines of trans people's licenses, birth certificates, and passports being revoked or reversed. Or videos of immigrants being dragged out of airports and people's rights and freedoms and sometimes their lives being taken away. You seem more concerned with receiving the free theatrics, like you're subscribed to some sort of streaming service that plays anti-trans content on a loop, where you can watch over 500 anti-trans bills being presented in a single year. But what about that tooth? It is an admission you're paying an admission where the main attraction is watching our civil rights be stripped from us one by one. But in order to watch a government strip the constitutional rights from some, you have to empower that very government to strip away constitutional rights for everyone. It's a privilege to not be affected while you watch this government demonize immigrants who are trying to make an honest day's living, people of color who are being told that the debt that their ancestors pay for unpaid labor doesn't matter, and trans people who set themselves on a path of self-discovery along the way showed everyone else how to live a life free from some of the more oppressive aspects of gender. I'm disappointed, but I'm hopeful. I'm determined and proud to stand along the very diverse trans community that we have always done so much together year after year. This time, they can see how diverse we are, that trans people are women and femmes and men and masc, non-binary people, immigrants, disabled folks, older folks, younger folks, all types of folks. We are here and we are inevitable. We are a lot of things. I'm a lot of things, but most of all, today I am grateful. I'm grateful that I get to stand here and look into the faces of beautiful queer and trans people and our allies. I'm grateful that I was able to discover a more authentic way to be myself. I'm grateful that I get to see and experience the intersectionality of our beautiful community. And you should be grateful, people who are not trans. You should be grateful that after all of this, the queer and trans community is still here waiting to march alongside you. I'm grateful, and you should be too. So to the cisgender or non-trans people listening, I had to define that for them. I'm grateful that I know that I'll be free no matter how many rights are taken away, how hard they try to oppress me and my community. And while I'm grateful for me, I'm disappointed for you. I'm disappointed that you may never know what that freedom feels like until you stop looking for entertainment and start looking for solidarity. And to the queer and trans community here before me and our fabulous allies, I love you, I'm in awe of you, and I am grateful for you. Thank you. Happy Trans Day of Visibility.
Thank you so much.
How many speakers are there? How many protesters?
There's almost 20, I believe.
The director of
Oh my God,
Partnerships
I
at
remember
Planned
you.
Parenthood Federation of America and a powerful leader in reproductive justice,
And I'm speaking.
Diamond
Oh my
L.
God,
Delancey.
Good afternoon, family. Woo! As we celebrate Trans Day of Visibility, we are called to see each other more fully. Visibility is not just about recognition. It is about safety. It is about dignity. It is about power. And ultimately, it is about controlling your own body and your own destiny. Today and every day, trans communities continue to forge a rich legacy of resistance, even in the face of escalating assaults to even exist. From their first day in office, this administration has launched rapid-fire attacks on LGBTQ+ freedoms. This administration has immediately cut non-discrimination protections for LGBT+ communities, especially for trans people. This president has signed an executive order that falsely and narrowly redefined the federal interpretation of sex and instructed agencies to stop using federal funds to acknowledge a spectrum of genders. The following week, the president signed an executive order villainizing healthcare for trans people and directing all federal agencies to cut all funding and health insurance coverage for this care. GLAAD documented 225 anti-LGBT attacks in policy and in rhetoric, and that was just the first 100 days of this administration. And now, this administration is proposing to block federal Medicaid coverage of gender-affirming care and to exclude hospitals that provide this care from any participation in Medicaid or Medicare. And they aren't stopping there. They even tried to force their agenda on the rest of the world through the expanded global gag rule, which not only targets organizations who provide, refer, or advocate for abortion, but now it also erases trans communities and blocks inclusive global programs that serve and uphold the rights of all people. All of these attacks come as federal lawmakers are pushing legislation that would take away health care and criminalize gender-affirming care, instead of addressing the healthcare issues that they cause. They also want to permanently block Medicaid patients from using their insurance to get care at Planned Parenthood health centers. And we know that because of systematic oppression, those who are at the most marginalized will suffer the most consequences. Let's be clear, the end goal of all of these policies are the same: control over our bodies, our lives, and our healthcare decisions. I come to you as the Director of Black Partnerships at Planned Parenthood Federation of America, as an organizer whose work is grounded in reproductive justice that was led by 12 Black women in 1994. And from my experience, I have witnessed these movements grow stronger from a simple truth: that none of our freedoms exist in isolation. The fight for trans liberation and the fight for reproductive freedom are deeply connected. Both of them have the same goals: controlling decisions about our own bodies. And we know that throughout history, the policing of bodies in this country has long been shaped by racism and gender bias. Gender itself has been colonized. But before, Black womanhood has always existed in that space of expansiveness. It has always challenged the idea that gender cannot be contained or easily defined. In this way, Black life has carried an inherent resistance to binary thinking and deep knowledge that our survival often requires transformation. Planned Parenthood believes that everyone deserves high-quality, compassionate care, no matter what your gender is, and most Planned Parenthood health facilities gratefully and proudly provide gender-affirming care. These include, trans people are a part of our communities. These include our Planned Parenthood patients, staff, volunteers, and our supporters. Since last summer, when the law to defund Planned Parenthood went into effect, it stripped millions of people who are blocked from using Medicaid from using their insurance at Planned Parenthood health centers. 23 of our Planned Parenthood health centers have closed since then. And research shows that there is no other organization that can fill this gap. Our communities are stronger and healthier when people can make their own decisions about their own bodies. And it means fewer mental health crises, less emergency care, and the ability to build a healthy and stable future. So today, let's commit to building a world where our bodies are not battlegrounds, but homes. Where agency is not conditional, and where liberation is shared. Now y'all know this wouldn't be a rally without a chant, right?
Yes!
Great. Every time I speak, I love to do a Sada Shakur's chant. Will y'all do it with me?
Yeah.
Alrighty. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
Say it like you mean it. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and protect each other.
We must love each other and protect each other.
We have nothing to lose.
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 Thank y'all, family.
Tyler's doing an interview.
Please welcome host, activist, and iconic voice, a lifelong Washingtonian who's known as the High Priestess of Love, the Queen of the Shameless Plug, and the Goddess of DC for her unwavering commitment to community, celebration, and connection, Racine Pendarvis.
Good day, family. I am Racine Pendarvis, DC's original gender blender. And for many decades, I have been a fierce advocate for transgender people in the nation's capital and beyond. As an elder of a certain age, I remember when there were gay liberation marches, then gay and lesbian parades. This was before people said GLBT or LGBTQIA. Trans people were either an afterthought or left out completely. Trans people in DC had to fight for their seat at the table. Earlene Budd, Savannah Wasser, Tina Teasley, Roberta Baldwin, and Avis Pendarvis. Now trans people have become the scapegoat. Their existence of trans people have become politicized. Ignorance about trans people have been weaponized. We have to push back, be as relentless as they are. We need to support each other, encourage each other, help each other, and we need to vote. If your vote was not important, they wouldn't spend so much time, money, and effort on their shenanigans to prevent you from voting. But voting is not enough. We all must get involved, join large national organizations, small local groups, or start your own. Show up for protests, rallies, and marches like this one in No King. Ask your friends and neighbors to join you. Get started today. Time is of the essence. Time is finite, and time is valuable. Please spend time with your trans elders while you can. Learn from them. Please honor our trans elders. Remember their trophies and plaques and parties are nice, but gifts are better. Give them their flowers, but also give the old dolls some money to pay their bills. And when you can, book them for gigs. Book trans performers and panelists and MCs and DJs and pay them what they're worth. Allies, I want you to put your money where your mouth is. Hire trans people, be proactive, seek them out, mentor them, train them, vouch for them, recommend them for employment and promotions. I'm proud of everyone who is here today. I'm proud of all of you who have joined us here today. But let us make our trans ancestors proud by unifying, organizing, and fighting back. Peace and blessings to all.
Please welcome to the stage Kendall Kalustian, a trans rights advocate at the Human Rights Campaign with 4 years of experience fighting back against attacks on our community at the federal level.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kendall Kalustian. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a part of the team at HRC that is fighting back every day to protect against anti-trans attacks in Congress and the Trump administration. Transgender Day of Visibility is a celebration of the vibrance, joy, and contributions of transgender people across this entire country. But it is also a reminder that democracy depends on the dignity, safety, and participation of all people, especially including transgender Americans. Across the country, we're seeing coordinated efforts to attack the trans community for political gain. These attacks are designed to create fear, divide communities, and distract from serious issues facing our families. Here's the reality that some in power do not want you to see. Trans people are our family members, neighbors, friends, and fellow citizens. We're pushing back against the cruel attacks on trans lives together, because change doesn't just happen because we're right. Change happens because we organize, we vote, and we build people power together. This is why Trans Day of Visibility is about being seen and standing together. When communities show up for each other and refuse to be divided, that is how our democracy grows, everyone. As a young trans American working on the front lines of these attacks on Capitol Hill, this fight is personal for me. TDOV is about celebrating all trans people who have the courage to show up as their authentic selves despite what this world is throwing at us. This is why TDOV is not just about one rally or one day of visibility, it is about building power every single day. And that is exactly what HRC does. We turn our stories into action and our actions into results. When we work together across states, across communities, we are stronger than any one attack. We are here, we are trans, and this is our country too, everyone. If you're wondering what you can do, join us. Tell your story, get involved, and vote. One more time, vote. That's how we win, everyone. Thank you so much.
Please welcome New Hampshire State Representative and Aerospace Engineer, Alice Wade.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is so great to be out here in Washington, D.C. today. Couldn't ask for a better day to be visible than on Trans Day of Visibility, on No King's Day, and especially with this beautiful festival of kites happening right behind us. I am State Representative Alice Wade from New Hampshire, and I am only one of around a dozen transgender state legislators around the entire country. Today I'm going to share a personal story with all of you to show what it means to be visible in a broken system. Transgender Day of Remembrance was 4 months ago. A day set aside to honor transgender people who lost their lives to violence or suicide in the past year. It sickens me that we have enough names that we need a day for that at all. That night, I attended a vigil in St. Paul's Church across the street from the New Hampshire State House. There were other vigils across the state that night, but in Concord, the room was so full that we had to bring out extra chairs. In the back of the room was a wall covered in photos of people we'd lost this year. Children as young as 15 and elders in their 80s. After a few speeches, we came to the hardest part of the ceremony for me. Everyone took a sheet of paper from the wall and lined up to read their names and their stories. The line kept growing. We didn't have enough people. Some people had to take 2 sheets, other people had to take 3. I took a sheet of paper too. Raven Syed, a transgender student from New Jersey who lost their life after being harassed by students and staff at their school. After I read Raven's story, I stayed and listened to every name. Every one of them was someone's family. Every one of them was described as deeply loved, generous, and kind. I kept hoping that the list would end soon, but it just kept going. I thought I was gonna throw up. Last year, reading the names took half an hour. This year, we went over an hour overtime. I left the event that night feeling the weight of everyone we'd lost, but I also felt an anger at how preventable their deaths could be in a kinder world. Today is a day for transgender people to be visible. But what does being visible mean right now? To me, it means carrying their names into the State House week after week until that list of names stops growing. It means standing up for our community and building a kinder world even when the cards are stacked against us. Why visibility? Because our opponents, they're not seeing us. Not truly. Too often, the transgender community is reduced to what people read in the headlines and on social media. Too often, people who oppose trans rights have never even talked to a trans person, or they haven't realized that they already have. By being visible, we can get through to them by making them see us as ordinary people in their lives, as their family members, as their coworkers, and as their friends. That is how we break this cycle. Why visibility? Because for the transgender kids who are struggling right now, they need to see that the adults are fighting for their right to exist, for their right to the healthcare that saved my life and the lives of so many others. We need to be fighting for their right to a kinder future, and they need us right now. These attacks will not end today, but they will end someday. There will come a day where our community is accepted, where our community is loved, and where we won't have to live in fear anymore. And we are going to do everything we can to make that world a reality. Are we going to be visible right now? Yes. Are we going to keep fighting? Are we going to build the kinder world that Raven deserved to live in? Then let's build it together, brick by brick, until that list of names stops growing. Thank you, DC.
welcome award-winning advocate, author, and the first openly Black transgender woman elected to public office in Cook County, Chief Strategy Officer at the Center on Halstead, and Commissioner for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago, Precious Brady Davis.
Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone feeling today? Are you feeling the trans power? When I say trans, you say power. Trans! Power! Trans! Power! Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Precious Brady Davis, and I am a wife, a mother, and a public servant. And I'm proud to be with you today as we stand on the National Mall in the shadow of history. At a moment when the storm is raging, but let me tell you, I can feel a blue tsunami coming. We are living in a moment of distractions everywhere. We must not be deterred. We must stay focused.
I need help.
Across the country, there's a coordinated effort to strip away our protections and attempts to stifle the ability for trans folks to live openly, safely, and fully in the light of day. But let me tell you, we have been here before. That is what Stonewall was all about. That is what the Compton cafeteria riots marked. Let's be clear. This is not about addressing the cost of living. This is not about opening pathways to the middle class. This is fear-mongering. But I want to be clear. We are still here. And we always have been. And while the attacks have been real, and they have been hard, but we persist, and we aren't going anywhere. I'm proud to stand before you as the first Black transgender woman elected to public office in Cook County. And the highest vote getter of any trans candidate in American history. Over 1 million votes. Not because the path was easy, but because I understand the legacy that I carry. My identity is not my limitation, it is my lens. But when I ran countywide, I ran under a banner of service, to invest in infrastructure, to prevent flooding, to advance environmental justice, because our community deserves fighters at this moment. Are you in for the fight? And everywhere I went, people asked the same question. Will you deliver? Will you show up? Will you fight for us? They asked about economic opportunity, because that's what people truly care about. But we must know the truth. Our freedoms are intertwined. Our dignity is non-negotiable, and our existence is not up for debate. We have always fought this country to live up to its promise, and we will continue to do so. Because as a mother, I think about the kind of world my daughters deserve to grow up in. One where they are safe, one where they are seen, and where they can fully live as themselves. This future will not be handed to us. We have to build it. So while there are those who try to divide us, we are called to build something stronger, something rooted in community, something grounded in dignity, something that says every person belongs, no exceptions. Because our lives matter no matter who is in power. No matter what moment we are in, our inheritance is not fear. Our inheritance is that of resistance. Our inheritance is courage. Our inheritance is each other. We do not shrink in moments like this. We rise. We do not wait for permission to lead. We do not disappear, and we will not just be visible. We will be powerful, because when we fight, and we will not disappear, because that is exactly what they want. Together, we will live to see another day where our futures are filled with trans power and promise. Thank you.
Please welcome last year's Best Activist in the LA Blades Best of LA Awards, whose work has been featured in Time and Vogue, a transgender Latina activist, creator, and senior digital strategist for Christopher Street Project, Rose Montoya.
Hello, buenos días, ¿cómo están? Thank you so much for being here. My name is Rose Montoya, and it is an honor and privilege to get to be the Senior Digital Strategist with Christopher Street Project. Can I please just start by saying thank you so much to Liana and Tyler for all of your hard work, for organizing, and for putting all of us here. I am so touched. I want to talk about hope today, not as something as abstract and not as something that's distant, but as something that I can actually point to and something that I've experienced this very week in real people and in real moments that I got to share with so many of you here. At the Education Forum on Thursday, I met trans people from all across the nation, representing over 20 different states. They showed up exactly as they are, some of them nervous, some of them more confident than I could be, and some of them their very first time ever stepping foot in the Capitol. But all of them were there just trying to live their lives as a human being. I met parents who are choosing to show up even when it's hard, even when it's confusing, but they're doing their best. I met organizers and advocates doing the work that most people will probably never see, but that makes work that will change people's lives forever. And on Friday, yesterday, I got to sit in a handful of meetings with members of Congress where we got to have conversations about trans rights and dignity and be in spaces that for a long time did not include us. And that has stayed with me. Because this is part of what hope looks like right now. It's not perfect. Believe me, this week was not perfect. And yet it is real. And that kind of hope forces us to be honest about what we need, because visibility, it is not the goal. We are already very, very visible. People know that we exist. Hi, I'm right here. Thank you. And being visible puts a target on our back. The question is what people are willing to do with that visibility. Because being seen does not mean being safe. It does not guarantee us healthcare or housing. And it does not guarantee protection from discrimination, harassment, or violence that we are seeing come right down the street. What we're actually fighting for today and every day is protection. For rights that hold no matter who is in power. And yes, the attacks are real. They're hard. Laws restricting care, efforts to erase us from public life, narratives that try to paint us as something to fear. But that's not the only thing that's happening right now. Because at the same time, I have seen something else. And you are all here today part of something else.
I see out in this crowd trans youth who are still dreaming. I see parents out here who refuse to let fear win. I see people building community faster than it can be broken. I have seen trans people continuing to live, continuing to love, to create, and to exist fully as themselves. I have seen organizations, much like the Christopher Street Project, putting in the necessary work. And believe me, this took work. That's what hope looks like to me right now. So I want to ask all of you to find what hope looks like for you today and tomorrow and going forward. Hope is not ignoring our reality. It is seeing everything clearly for what it is and still choosing to believe in what is possible because you have evidence that it already exists right here, right now. So no, being here is not the finish line. It's part of building a future where trans people are not just visible, but protected. Not just acknowledged, but respected. Not just included, but able to live full, safe, and joyful lives. And I believe that we can get there. Not because it's guaranteed, mind you, but because I have seen what we are all capable of when we come together, when we love each other, when we show up for each other like we are right now. And that's enough to keep me going. What about you? Thank you.
Please welcome an activist, writer, and musician whose work lives at the intersection of art and resistance, the director of Fight for the Future, Evan Greer.
All right, y'all. I want to hear you say, protect trans kids! Protect trans kids! Protect trans kids! Protect trans kids! That's why we're here, right? For the future. For our children and our children's children to be able to grow up in a world where they can be their full selves, where they can be loved and held, but also have basic human rights like housing and health care, a place to sleep at night, and families that love and care for them. My name is Evan Greer. I use she or they pronouns, and I am the director of an organization called Fight for the Future. I've got some of my colleagues up here on stage with me. We're an organization that fights censorship and surveillance that impacts marginalized communities. And for the last several years, we've been specifically fighting censorship and surveillance that impacts trans people. And I know that everyone out there is aware of some of the forefront of this. We've seen our trans siblings in Kansas have their identification, driver's licenses taken away, impacting their basic right to move around, to go to the grocery store, to go to the doctor. We're fighting legislation that would move those types of bans online. So if you're concerned about book bans, if you're concerned about bans on drag performances, on the criminalization of gender-affirming care, we are the organization that is out there making sure that that type of censorship impacting our community doesn't move online. How many people here heard about this event on social media? You heard about it on the internet. Imagine a world where anything related to the existence of trans people was scrubbed from social media by legislation that claims to protect us while actually controlling what we can see and what we can do online. That is the world that we at Fight for the Future are fighting against. But we also resist the surveillance apparatus that has always historically been used to control and oppress marginalized communities. We're up here wearing t-shirts and with our banner that says censorship equals death, using the iconic imagery from the AIDS justice movement and recognizing that our siblings, our brothers and sisters and siblings of the past were forced to wear these triangles as a form of surveillance so that they could monitor us everywhere we go and know who we're speaking to and what we do. We recognize that right now there is no liberation for trans people in a world where the federal government is kicking in people's doors, arresting our immigrant neighbors and siblings, and we recognize that those same corporations that are providing surveillance for ICE, whether it's Flock Safety, who provides license plate scanning, Palantir, that's providing facial recognition and other technologies. If you think for 1 second that those companies would not provide the same technology to monitor, oppress, and track queer and trans people, then you have not been paying attention. So, I'm gonna start with a little song. When I perform at trans events, I want to remind us that trans issues are not just about healthcare and pronouns and acceptance in schools. Housing is a trans issue. Immigration is a trans issue. Prison abolition is a trans issue. I'm gonna sing a brand new song called Come Through Us. And I want you all to sing this with me. It's very easy to learn, so I'm gonna ask you to repeat after me. If you come for my neighbors, you will have to come through me. Now you sing that. If you come for my neighbors, you will have to come through me. If you come for my neighbors, you will have to come through me. I want to hear you. For my neighbors, you will have to come through me. There ain't no room for fascists in our community. So if you come for my neighbors, you will have to come through me. If you come for my neighbors, you will have to come through me. Come on, y'all. Come for my neighbors, you will have to come through me. 'Cause immigrants and workers built this community. If you come for my neighbors, you will have to come through me. If you're trying to deport them, you will have to come through me. If you're separating families, you will have to come through me. And if you don't got a warrant, you will have to come through me. If you come for my neighbors, you will have to come through me. And if you're coming for trans kids, you'll have to come through me. If you're trying to start a war, you'll have to come through me. If you're funding a genocide, you'll have to come through me. If you come for my neighbors, you will have to come through me. If you come for our neighbors, you will have to come through us. Am I right? If you come for our neighbors, you will have to come through us. We'll organize to kick out ICE, we'll strike and raise a fuss. If you come for our neighbors, you will have to come through us. If you come for my neighbors, you will have to come through us. If you come for our neighbors, you will have to come through us. We'll organize to kick out ICE, we'll strike and raise a fuss. If you come for our neighbors, you will have to come through us. If you come for our neighbors, you will have to come. 5-part harmony, are you ready? Through us. Thanks so much. We've got some information over on a table there. We've got ways that you can speak out and take action against surveillance and censorship that are impacting our community. And specifically, I want to talk very briefly before we play one more song for you all about legislation that, again, could lead to resources for trans youth being scrubbed off the internet. We know so many trans young people find community and safety online when they are unable to find it in their homes, in their communities, in their schools. And unfortunately, we have too many lawmakers, not just in this country, but around the world, who have decided that while we all have real concerns about big tech companies and the surveillance capitalist business model that they employ that does tremendous harm to our children and our democracy, rather than regulating those companies and addressing that surveillance-driven business model, we have politicians that simply want to put the government in charge of what we can say and do on social media. And frequently they claim that this legislation is about protecting kids. But unfortunately, this legislation is not about protecting all kids, because legislation like the Kids Online Safety Act, like mandated online age verification, would force you to upload your government ID and associate it with everything you post online. We are in a moment where we have an administration, we have leadership that are sending subpoenas to social media companies demanding that they unmask accounts that are posting criticism of our government. That is the level of censorship and surveillance that community activists are facing, and we have lawmakers, including supposedly progressive lawmakers, pushing for policies that would essentially wipe trans people off the internet at a time when we have other politicians that are trying to wipe us off the face of the earth. So if there is a lawmaker, if there's an organization you know that are continuing to support these dangerous and misguided censorship bills, you tell them it's not okay. It is Trans Day of Visibility. Too many members of our community have died. Too many of our voices have been silenced, and we are not going to tolerate so-called progressives pushing for censorship and surveillance legislation that will get our community killed. Are you with me on that? Are we going to fight censorship together? All right, I'm going to invite my colleague China to come sing one more song with me here. I cannot feel my fingers at all, so we're going to have to see how this goes.
I think I'm going to stay over here to hold the sign up, but I am going to help you sing, yes.
Perfect.
And
This
I
song
heard
is-
others out there singing too. I know y'all are cold, but thank you for lifting your voices. Y'all
That's
are
right,
awesome.
that's right. So this song is called The Tyranny of Either Or, and it's off a record that I released called Spotify is Surveillance. Go figure that. This song opens with a sample of Sylvia Rivera at the Christopher Street Liberation Day yelling, "Y'all better quiet down." And she was right. But today I want to ask y'all better get loud, all right? So, please join us. This is The Tyranny of Either Or. From the second we are born, we're forced to fight for every breath. The tyranny of either or. You blame the victim, our existence is a threat. We were not the ones who declared war. Every year we read the names of those we've lost. Every day we're sick and tired. We just want to be ourselves. We just want to live our lives. We refuse to comply. We deserve to do more than survive. You weaponize biology, twist science into bigotry. Anything to justify your projected insecurities become policies of purity. You debate about our right to be alive. When we defend ourselves, you call it an attack. Why can't you see our liberations intertwined? That's for you, J.K. Rowling. And we just want to be ourselves. We just want to live our lives. We refuse to comply with your pathological need to categorize. The tyranny of either or. The tyranny of either or. The tyranny of either or. Tyranny of either or. Give it up for China singing harmony vocals over there. Give it up for my colleagues that fight for the future. Thanks so much to the Christopher Street Project. It is so important that we have young folks out here specifically advocating for trans folks, because we know that while we have many organizations that advocate for LGBTQ people, if we do not have trans folks in leadership roles, we get left behind and we get thrown under the bus. So thank you to the Christopher Street Project, and happy Trans Day of Visibility, y'all!
Welcome the councilwoman representing Lexington's 4th District and the only openly transgender elected official in Kentucky, Emma Curtis.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, y'all. How are ya? So, my name is Emma Curtis, and I am so proud to represent the 4th District on Lexington's Council. And, you know, I know that it might feel strange to be celebrating Trans Day of Visibility in this moment of historic fear and division when leaders in Congress, in the White House, and in state legislatures across this country are engaged in a full-on legislative assault on our basic freedoms, safety, and dignity. But I want you to know that while visibility comes with necessary vulnerability, it also comes with strength. It gives us power, and it is the thing that enables us to change hearts and minds, even in the most extreme of circumstances. I've seen this firsthand. 3 years ago, on this very day, I stood in front of the Kentucky State Capitol at a rally much like this one, as our state legislature voted to enact Senate Bill 150, a cruel and inhumane omnibus anti-trans bill that I had been working for months to defeat. When I started working against that bill, I was not an elected official. I had no previous experience working in politics. I was just a transgender Kentuckian who was pissed off and scared. And what I learned in those months working against that bill, with dozens of lawmakers that I met with from both parties, the overwhelming majority of them had never knowingly met a trans person before. And because they hadn't, it was easy for them to believe the hateful lies they had been told about people like us. When they were face to face with me, it wasn't so easy to disregard my humanity. When we embrace our visibility, we embrace our ability to tell our own stories instead of allowing our stories to be told solely by those who wish to do us harm. When Senate Bill 150 became law, I promised that I would do everything in my power to undo the damage it would cause. As we've seen these attacks expand nationwide, they are using the exact same playbook that they used in Kentucky and that they used in other so-called red states. We have been here, we have been doing the work, and I can tell you now, 3 years later, as an openly trans elected official in one of those states, the single most effective deterrent that we have against these attacks is the mere presence of a visible and competent trans person in the rooms where decisions are made. So my ask to each and every one of you is simple. Harness your visibility, embrace it, and take it and do good. Get yourself into those rooms where decisions are made, and when you do not run away from the fight for trans rights, because the fight for trans rights, the fight for racial justice, the fight for immigrants' rights, reproductive justice, workers' rights for fair and living wages, they are all the same fight. It is the fight of our lives, and we are going to get through it together, and we are going to win. Happy Trans Day of Visibility, y'all. Thank you so much for being here, and God bless you.
Please welcome a trailblazing leader in the nonprofit and advocacy space and the executive director of the Stonewall Community Foundation, Elisa Crespo.
Hello, DC. Good afternoon. My name is Elisa Crespo. I'm coming to you from New York City, from the Boogie Down Bronx to be precise. Woo! Oh, I heard that. Can I get a year? I have the honor and privilege of being the executive director of Stonewall Community Foundation, and I've spent many years of my childhood living on Christopher Street, 30 Christopher Street to be exact. And I want you to know that the history of Christopher Street is the history of powerful black and brown, queer and trans folks who weren't always from the neighborhood, but who congregated there, who survived there. I'm talking about ballroom kids, peer kids, sex workers, generations of survivors and freedom fighters, generations of resistance. I take so much inspiration from what I learned and who I met those early days on Christopher Street. It is cemented in me, that idea that we are a powerful people. Woo! So do not give in. Do not let this moment defeat you. It is our time to build political power for trans people in America. And it starts with you, because if you do not know that you have power, nobody else will. We must participate in the political process. We must vote these bullies out of office because they seek to divide us. But we're waking up to their agenda, and so are everyday Americans. We're waking up to the tactics and lies pushed by the far right. And together we are destroying the anti-trans hate machine one day at a time. Together we're making it clear that we're not the 1% that they should be coming after. Woo! Hundreds of millions of dollars spent against us in political ads. Billions spent on illegal wars overseas. But we say no more. We want health care, not war. We want free tuition, not war. We want housing, not war. Friends, today it is said that there will be mass protests around the country, some of the biggest in the nation. We shall see. But what I know is that I'm glad to be here with you today in the nation's capital, where we say protect trans kids, where we say chinga la migra,
Chinga la migra!
And where we say there are no kings in America. This nation is celebrating 250 years this year, but guess what? Our history goes back further than the birth of this nation. We are a powerful people. Sylvia taught us that we must show them that we are numerous. Octavia taught us that this world is for us too, honey. That is the power that we come from and the shoulders in which we stand on. We will win. I love you. Thank you.
We do. No, literally.
to raising awareness and funds to support inclusivity, create space, and promote fairness for LGBTQ individuals. Cheer DC.
It is good. See how it is performing that in song?
Never gonna stop, you know we call the shots. Just can't wait until I hear yourself from me. Stay all night, everything's gonna be alright. Whether you need me, baby. If you wanna reach
Inspired, driven, about to show you all. When we win the gold, you know we'll make the calls.
Hey, I just met you. Isn't this crazy? But here's my number, so call me maybe. It's hard to look back at you, baby. But here's my number, call me maybe. I've been waiting all day for you to call me baby. So let's get up, let's get on it. You leave me, get on it tonight. Come on, that's right. Trio.
Please welcome award-winning activist, civil rights leader, and transgender health advocate, the executive director of the Marsha P. Johnson Institute, Chastity Bowen.
Yeah, Chastity. Mother. Truly.
Good afternoon, family. Thank you, Christopher Street Project, for putting me up here and for putting on this gathering. And thank you to Miss Marsha P. Johnson for throwing that brick. A State of the Union is an assessment. Is it a moment to take stock of where we are, to tell the truth about the conditions that we are living in, and the direction that we are headed. And today, we're gonna tell the truth. Because the truth is, Black and brown trans people are under attack. We are facing erasure, and this country is moving backwards when it comes to our rights and our safety. Across this country, we are watching legislation target trans people at a pace we have not seen before. This year alone, we have seen over 740 bills introduced into state legislatures that directly impacts our access to health care, our ability to participate in public life, and our right to simply exist without harassment or discrimination. Right now, 29 states have laws or policies restricting gender-affirming care. Since 2021, we have seen more than a 560% increase in legislation targeting our community. This is not random, this is coordinated. And when you look at those numbers, you start to see something. We are living through a civil rights crisis. Now let me say something else plainly. When laws are written to erase people from public life, that is not a policy disagreement. When healthcare is restricted for an entire group of people, this is not a political debate. When communities are targeted over and over again by legislation, this is not governance, this is systemic. And this is why we are gathered here today. Performative allyship is not enough for this moment. Posting on social media is not enough. Rainbow logos in June is not enough.
Say it.
Statements of solidarity without action is not enough.
Say it!
This moment requires activation. It requires people to move from words of action, from sympathy to strategy, from visibility to protection, and that's the conversation that we're having today. The attacks we are seeing against trans people are not random. They are organized, they are strategic, and they are escalating. Across the country, decision makers are introducing bills that target our healthcare, our families, and our ability to exist openly in public life. Young people who are simply trying to understand themselves and live honestly are being turned into political talking points. Young people who deserve support are being treated like a problem that needs to be legislated away. That is not leadership, that is cruelty. And let me tell you something else. When lawmakers say they are protecting children, but those same policies increase isolation, depression, and barriers to care, what they are really doing is targeting trans youth first because they believe young people are easier to silence. But in reality, trans youth are powerful. Trans youth are brilliant. And the young people here today and across this country are going to remember who stood up for them and who stayed silent. Now let's zoom out for a moment, because while many of these attacks are happening at a state level, we're seeing what's happening nationally too. There are a few state leaders and members of Congress who are pushing back, but not enough. Because right now, we are seeing a loud, coordinated attacks from Republican lawmakers who are actively targeting trans people in their policies and in their rhetoric. And on the other side, we're seeing far too much silence. And silence is not neutral. Silence is policy. Inaction is policy. And when the people in power choose not to act, the result is the same. Black and brown trans people are left to navigate systems that were not designed to keep us safe. When protections are delayed, when enforcement is weak, when funding does not reach the communities who need it most, the outcome does not change. We are left to figure it out on our own. We are talking about federal enforcement gaps. We are talking about inconsistent protections, when even policies like Title X are debated instead of enforced for trans people. We are talking about an administrative decisions that are weakened or roll back protections that should clearly include our community. And we are talking about funding systems where less than 2% of philanthropic dollars go to trans-led organizations. Less than 2%. And less than 1% goes to Black trans-led organizations, like the Marsha P. Johnson Institute. This is not about political parties, this is about people. And whether or not we are allowed to exist safely in this country. Because no matter who is in office, no community should have to fight this hard just to exist with dignity. And when the rights of Black trans people are debated like they are optional, that should concern everyone who believes in justice. If you are a trans person here today, I want you to hear this. The fact that you are here matters. The fact that you are living in your truth matters. The fact that you continue to show up in a world that often tries to erase you is powerful. Do you feel tired sometimes? Do you feel angry sometimes? Do you feel overwhelmed by everything that's happening around you? You are not alone. As a matter of fact, turn to the person to your right and tell them, you are not alone.
I guess I am.
This moment is heavy, but it is also the moment where our community is showing incredible strength. And that strength is why so many people are trying so hard to silence us. They wouldn't do this if we weren't powerful. They wouldn't do this if we weren't strong. They wouldn't do this if we didn't spit or throw a brick in the face of adversity. We know how this shows up in our real lives. Because violence is not only physical, violence is not only what we see on the news, violence is not only what gets reported. Policy is violence. And economic violence. And economic violence shows up in our community every single day. And it shows up when someone cannot find safe housing. It shows up when someone is denied a job because of who they are. It shows up when someone has to choose between paying rent or accessing health care. It shows up when survival becomes a daily calculation instead of a basic right. Now, when we look at the data that does exist, it tells us a part of a story. The number of adult trans individuals experiencing homelessness has increased 88% since 2016. And the number experiencing unsheltered homelessness has increased 113% during that same period. We also know that nearly 40 to 45% of Black and brown trans adults are living below the poverty line. But the truth is, even these numbers do not capture the full reality, because so much of what our community is experiencing is not fully documented, is underreported, and is missing from the data entirely. So what we are looking at is not the full picture, and that should concern all of us. Because behind every number is a person. Someone trying to figure out where they're going to sleep, someone navigating shelters that are not safe, someone being turned away from housing, from jobs and opportunities. Safety is not just protection from violence. Safety is stability, safety is access, safety is having what you want and what you need to live. And right now, too many people in our community do not have that. And at the same time, the people doing the work to fill those gaps are being stretched beyond capacity. Black trans organizations are on the front lines of these crises. We are providing housing support, mutual aid. We are helping people navigate healthcare. We are showing up when no one else does. And we are doing it with limited resources. We are doing it with short-term funding. We are doing it while the demand continues to grow. We are doing it knowing that some organizations may not survive the next 3 years. Because the reality is, the resources are not meeting the need. And from that already small share, only a fraction reaches Black trans-led organizations. Even though Black trans people face some of the highest level of violence and economic instability in this country, globally it's the same story. The people holding our communities together are often doing it with less than $20,000 a year. And that's not even guaranteed, because funding is moving in the wrong direction. So while the need is rising, the attacks are increasing, and the resources are shrinking, let's talk about responsibility. If you're an individual ally, your $1 matters. Your time matters. Your effort matters. Because movements aren't building through collective action. But if you are a corporation with a multi-million-dollar budget, $5,000 is not a commitment. If you are a foundation with a $50 million endowment, your investment should reflect your capacity. Because right now, our community is carrying a burden that should not be ours alone. At this point, we need to shift the conversation, because what we are facing is not just a policy crisis, it's also an accountability crisis. Too many people, too many institutions, too many systems claim to support Black trans lives, but when it comes time to act, the support disappears. You cannot say you support us, but vote against us. You cannot say you support us, but refuse to invest in us. You cannot say you support us and remain silent while our rights are being stripped away. Support is not about what you say. Support is about what you do. And right now, what many people are doing is not enough. I want to speak directly to our so-called leaders. The Republicans who build their careers denying our very own humanity. The Democrats who court our votes in November but abandon us when it's time to fight. The independents whose silence is complicity as our rights are being stripped away. To the White House administration, which has presided over the most vicious, unprecedented wave of legislation attacks our community has ever endured. To the Supreme Court that has been compromised and turned into a political weapon. And yes, to Donald Trump and the movement that pours gasoline on this fire, our message to you, every single one of you, is very clear. Do your fucking job. Your job is to protect human rights, not debate them. Your job is to serve all citizens, not just the ones who make you feel comfortable. Stop playing politics with our lives. Stop using our bodies and our children as pawns in your cynical culture wars. We are not talking points. We are not wedge issues. We are human beings. And we demand that you do your job. Corporations, every year we see pride campaigns. We see rainbow t-shirts and statements of support. But support is not a month-long campaign. We are trans every single day. Support is an investment. If you're profiting off the LGBTQ culture, you should invest in the communities that created it. That means funding Black trans-led organizations. That means hiring and retaining Black trans talent. That means using your platform to support policies that protect our lives. All of this is not accidental. It's systemic. So let's call it what it is. Visibility without investment is exploitation. And we see the difference. Short-term funding is not enough. Emergency grants are not enough. One-time support is not enough. So if you say you stand with Black trans communities, then fund us like you mean it. That means multi-year commitments. That means unrestricted funding. That means trusting people who are doing the work to know what they need. So this is the moment where we have to be honest. If you are in a position of power, whether that is political, corporate, philanthropic, you have a responsibility. And that responsibility requires more than statements and thinking about us once a year. It requires action. Now, for every ally here today, I want to be very clear what allyships look like. Here's what you do. You donate, starting with the Marsha B. Johnson Institute. Every amount matters. Even if you have $1, that matters. Even if you can give what you can spare, that matters. Because collective action builds power. But consistency matters more than intention. You volunteer, you give your time, you show up to your local community and support the organizations that are already doing the work. 5 minutes is all it takes to make a call or email your local representative and ask them where they stand on trans rights and make it clear that their decisions impact real people. You vote, and not just once, consistently, in alignment with the values that you claim you believe in. Because you cannot say you support trans people and then vote for the policies that harm us. You show visible support, not just when it's easy, not just when it's trending, but consistently in your workplace, in your community, in your everyday life, and use your voice. Speak up when misinformation is being spread, challenge discrimination when you see it, and don't stay silent in rooms when our lives are being debated. Being busy is no longer an excuse. everyone is busy. But it takes a conscious decision to take 5 minutes to make a call. It's a conscious decision to give what you can. It's a conscious decision to show up like today. And all those small actions, when multiplied, can create real change. But before I close, I wanted to speak directly to our community. Because the stakes are the highest they have ever been right now. And in moments like this, we cannot afford to be divided. We cannot afford to be disconnected. We cannot afford to be moving in different directions. Unity is not optional right now. Unity is survival. That means showing up for each other. That means supporting each other's work. That means creating spaces for all of us, not just the parts that are easier for us to understand. Because every part of our community deserves safety. Every part of our community deserves dignity. Every part of our community deserves to be protected. And we are stronger when we move together. This is the moment to organize. This is the moment to build. This is the moment to protect each other in real, tangible ways. Because at the end of the day, we are all we have. So I will leave you with this. There's a reason why we are seeing this level of backlash. There's a reason why so many coordinated efforts to erase us, to silence us, to push us out of public life. And then again, it's not because we are weak. It's because we are powerful. They are not reacting to our existence. They are reacting to our impacts. They are reacting to what this country could look like if everyone had the freedom to live their lives, their fully authentic selves. They are reacting to a future in which diversity is not feared but embraced, where differences are not punished but valued, where people are not forced to shrink themselves just to survive. And that future is possible. But it requires all of us. Because yes, this country is moving backwards in many ways. We're seeing it in real time. But we are not disappearing. We claim what has always been ours. Our humanity, our dignity, our power, and our right to exist. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage U.S. Army Major Kara Corcoran, Executive Director of Sparta Pride, a transgender military advocacy and support organization.
All right, the timer says 15 minutes. Just kidding. Hi, my name is Kara Corcoran. I am a U.S. Army infantry officer who has been serving my country for nearly 18 years. My story is not anything that's strange to all the thousands of transgender service members who are serving our country. So many are still in the closet or living stealth, but they are still serving and will continue to serve this country because they will continue to fight for their right and their liberties. I made the conscious decision to finally be able to be my authentic self that I knew I was my entire life when I was finally afforded the opportunity 8 years ago to be a transgender service member. I'm an infantry officer, meaning I'm an infantry woman. Woo! I played in the Women's National Football Conference as an athlete. Look, I'm sick and tired of this. We are Americans first and foremost, and we all have our own stories. In 2013, Sparta Pride was started, and I have the honor and responsibility to be its executive director. There was no agenda. The only goal was for open service. In 2016, that service was found. We were banned once before, and we are banned again. But we are not victims. We are not survivors. We are all fighters. I sat by 10 months ago. I was graduating from the School for Advanced Military Studies. We got done with our rehearsal, and I got pulled into the office and said, "Hey, Kara, I hate to break it to you, but if you want to walk across the stage, you're going to have to do it in male regulations." So I said to their face, "Bet." Because what's a pixie cut? It's nothing to me. Because you still can't erase my identity with a haircut. It is abhorrent what continues to happen to our transgender military community. Just last week, I had to take a trans military veteran out to dinner because they were homeless already. Struggling to find a place to live, struggling to find a job, and struggling to get back into society. We are all struggling as we continue to go through this hard time. But I remind you again, we are fighters. As we look forward to everything that's going on, I want you to understand, be courageous. I'm up here still as an active duty service member. Why? Because it's important that you know every aspect of the transgender community. We're in every space, and we love this country, and we are going to fight for this country, and we are going to continue to fight for our right for this country. I swore an oath to the U.S. Constitution. The Constitution. That should be enough to understand. I swore an oath to this great place in Washington, D.C. to defend her and her cherished institutions. Even if I were to die on a battlefield. I've been to Afghanistan. I've been back. I went to Afghanistan again. I've been back. So many service members continue to do their jobs in the face of prejudice. But they will continue to do it no matter what. I want you all to know you are not alone. And this fight may be a longer fight than we expect. But we deserve to be here because we deserve to serve. We deserve to be human beings. When they talk about American values of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, we embody that. I have fought for my liberty. I have fought for my freedom. And I will damn not be denied my pursuit of happiness. That is what makes us Americans. If you want to talk about lethality, if you want to talk about meritocracy and readiness in our combat arms, then it's important to understand that having the most qualified person to fight for your country is what's most important. I was a Racine in the 101st too. I was in the 2nd Airborne Division as a company commander. I was a Tank Battalion XO in the 1st Armored Division. My story is not foreign to any of those that have served their country and their military before. We will continue to fight as the knife cutting edge. We will gain our right to serve our country again, and we will fight for our right. Stay strong, ignore the haters, and defy the naysayers. Thank you all.
Please welcome educator, political advocate, and inspirational creator, Christian Sherrod.
Hello, beautiful people. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. Hello, beautiful people. A special hello to the dolls and to all the kids out there. Y'all freaking rock. If you don't know me, my name is Christian Sherrod. I'm a math teacher from Los Angeles, and I'm best known for pushing a radical indoctrination of kindness, right? Which actually isn't that controversial until you say kindness towards trans people, and then people lose their freaking minds. But why? What's so wrong with being kind towards trans people? Do I want every single child in America to be trans? No. But I want the ones who are to be safe and supported. Safe from hate, safe from violence, safe to be themselves and feel confident in doing so. So I create a space for my students to be themselves, to have talks about respecting each other's differences. So radical, right? But why do I care about trans people? I am a cisgender, heterosexual man. I heard some of y'all gasp, that's okay. Well, call me crazy, but I think everybody should be kind to everybody. But also, the first trans person I ever met, I fell in love with. My fiance, Eden. Woo! She's the most beautiful woman I've ever met, and meeting her introduced me to the trans community. Some of the kindest, coolest, funniest people I've ever met. But the thing is the more I hung out with trans people, the more I saw this unnecessary hate. I saw horrible messages, harassment, and violent attacks. But for what? Merely existing. Now, in education, we have a word for this, and it's called bullying. And it's something we should all stand against. Everybody deserves love, kindness, and respect. Men, women, everybody in between or beyond.
Yeah.
But lately, Congress hasn't been showing kindness or respect. There has been a blatant attack on trans people. Our government has a gross obsession on what's in people's pants. And to those lawmakers, I'd say it's not what is or isn't in your pants that's important. It's what is or isn't in your heart. Trans people are not a threat. Not a threat to you, not a threat to your children, and not a threat to America. What is a threat is the threat to trans rights, because a threat to anyone's rights is a threat to everyone's rights. That's why we all need to fight back. Not just trans people, not just people in the LGBT community, but everyone. So, to the allies, don't just say you support, don't just say you want change. Take a stand, speak out, and make change. Woo! And to the trans people out there today, happy trans visibility. Woo! We see you, we hear you, and we love you. Thank y'all so much. Woo!
Welcome back founder and executive director of the Christopher Street Project, Tyler Hagg.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Let's give it up for our amazing speakers. I also want to thank everyone who made today possible. Rose, Ning, Janica, Kate, Jay, Esperanza, Deb, Jack, Madeline, Matthew, and the whole team at Frontrunner Productions, and especially our amazing Deputy Executive Director, Liana Friedman.
Liana!
For anyone going to No Kings, we have buses going straight there. They're right behind me, those gray buses on 7th. So please take those, go rally at No Kings. You can also take the metro if you want, but we have those buses right there. I want to close with this. There will be moments after today, maybe later tonight, maybe next week, where this all feels heavy again. Where the headlines hit, the attacks keep coming, where it feels like the weight of this fight is too much to carry. In moments like those, I want you to remember this: you're not carrying it alone. We are stronger when we all come together, and movements like this aren't built in a single day. They're built in crowds like this, in people like you, who show up anyway, who speak anyway, who refuse anyway. We are part of something bigger than any one of us, bigger than any one bill, any one election, any one leader, any one moment. We're part of a long, unbroken line of people who looked at injustice and refused to accept it. That line didn't end at Stonewall, it didn't end with the victories we've already won, and it did not end with us. We're not just witnesses to history, we are authors of it. So let them hear us, not just today, but every day after this. In office, in every community, in every place that they try to push us out of. We're here, we're organized, and we're powerful. We're not going anywhere. Thank you for being here and for believing in us. Happy No King's Day, and keep fighting. Thank you.
Woo!
Nothing for takedown. Oh, which buses are taking folks? I believe it's those buses